Good evening, Yarnies. Oh, what is that on my forehead? Oh, I'm bleeding. Oh no! Starting the stream with some bloods and guts. That was not planned. I'm okay. Hopefully the light's gonna wash it all out. Anyway, how was everybody tonight, Yarnies? Let me get my supplies all set up and ready. And get something to drink. Double check this. All right. Doing my little pre-stream, well, beginning of the stream checks to make certain things are posting the way that they need to post. I think we're good. Alrighty, let's get into it right away tonight. Tonight we're going to go a little simple compared to Tuesday night when we did the spiral flower. We're going to be doing what I'm calling the small flower granny. It is, and I should have been prepared for this, and I'm not. It is, that's what it is, okay. It is a pattern from a YouTube channel called Crochet Mili, Mili. There was no spoken instructions, but there were instructions on the screen, so I was able to follow it. The link is in the description here on the stream and in the YouTube video when it gets uploaded. It's just a simple little three-dimensional flower, a basic square, and then with this unique lattice type edging. So we're going to get right into it. To start with, it is a 10, I think it's a 10 round. It's a 10 round square, so it's a bunch of rounds, but it's not too complicated. So to start, we're going to start with a slip stitch on our hook. And we're going to go to chain 5 and join with a slip stitch to form a ring. One, whoops, that stitch was a little too tight. One, two, three, 4, 5. So we got our chain of 5, slip stitch into our first one to form a ring. A little basic. And let me adjust my volume on that. Okay. We're going to chain 3. And into the ring, we're going to do a half double crochet. That chain 3 counts as a half double crochet plus a chain. So we've done our chain 3, half double crochet, and now we're going to chain 1 and then half double crochet into the ring. You're going to do that so you have a total of 8 of these chain 1 spaces. So there's 1, 2, we're going to do that 6 more times. So chain 1 and then half double crochet into the ring. Real simple for this round. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6, there's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now to do number 8, we're going chain 1. Actually, hold on a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. We're going to half double crochet into the center like normal. Whoops. I want to make certain I go over my tail. I've been doing that the whole time. I just want to get this last stitch over the tail. So we got these 8 here, and now we're going to slip stitch into the second chain. So to double check, we're going to count to see if we have 8 of these little spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we do. That slip stitch here, that doesn't really count as anything. That's just our join. And I know that space might look larger than the rest. That's because we did a chain 3. So the chain was a little bit longer than the other stitches. But it'll work. So that's round 1. Round 2, we're going to slip stitch into the next chain space. And then we're going to put 2 double crochets into this space. Do we chain? No. Okay. So we slip stitch, and we're going to put 2 doubles. So there's 1 and 2 doubles. And now in that same chain space, we're going to slip stitch one more time. So into that chain space, we slip stitch, 2 doubles, slip stitch. And then each of these spaces, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to slip stitch, 2 doubles, 1 and 2. And then we're going to slip stitch into the same chain space. This is how we're going to start our petals. And I've got to wipe something out of my eye because that would really annoy me. So in the next space, we're going to slip stitch, 2 doubles, 1, and there's 2. In that very same space, slip stitch once more. And they're creating a little bit of a curved petal. The slip stitches help curve and curl up those double crochets. So far, pretty easy. Slip stitch, 2 doubles, and then a slip stitch. I've got 3 more to do. Slip stitch. Hey, Seagam, how are you? Whoops. Got to do our slip stitch in that petal. And we've got 1 more petal to do. We always got to have a number 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're in our last one here. Slip stitch, 2 doubles. Oh yeah, I forgot about the kitten that you have. Completely forgot about it. Okay, so we've done all of that. And now what we're not joining because we want to end here in between these petals. So right where we ended this petal, that's where we're going to end that round. Round 3 is on the back of the work. Move the hook out of the way. We're going to see this stem here. It's not a stem, but we had to pick up your... Oh, you have another kitty. Wow. So how many do you have now? So around the stitch here, that's in between these petals, you're going to do a single crochet. And it could be just have the one, but your aunt has the brother and the new one. Oh, okay. So around the post of this stitch, it's like a little bit of an extra stitch because the way we did it. But we're going to single crochet. Whoops. Come on. And then do our single crochet. That's a little difficult, but we did it. And again, we're on the back. And if we want, we've gone around our tail enough, I'm going to clip it. I'm going to just get rid of it so it's not in our way. So we've done our single. And then we're going to chain 2. And you're going to do the same thing around each of these stitches that are between the petals. So you're going to go around it and do a single crochet, chain 2. Go to the next one, round it, chain 2. You do the total of 8 of them. Single, chain 2. And like a lot of our other flower squares that we've done this month, this round here is a foundation because we're going to be working into what we're making right now. It's just something to hold the stitches for the next row of petals. Okay? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We just chained 2. So now we're going to slip stitch into the beginning to form the 8th one. So that has kind of forced these petals from the round previous up. And if we get an example, that right there, the inner round is what we is that. Now we're going to work on these larger petals that go around. Oh, I don't know about that granny. I'm not certain about her. So that was round 3. One more round for this flower color. We're going to slip stitch into the next space. So again, we're working into the spaces, the chain spaces that we just made. And into here we're going, we've slip stitched in, we're going to chain 3. She needs a stop hacking, that old lady. So we've chained 3. We're going to do 3 doubles into that space. And then we're going to chain 3 again. And into the very same space, we're going to slip stitch. So each petal is going to work the same way. We're going to slip stitch into the space, chain 3, do 3 doubles, chain 3, and then slip stitch into the same space. That will form our petal. So let's go to the next one and do that. We're going to slip stitch, chain 3, do 3 doubles, 1, 2, and 3, chain 3, and slip stitch into the same space we've been working in. And again, that's going to kind of curl the petals a little bit. There's our slip stitch, chain 3, we'll do 3 doubles, chain 3, and then slip stitch into the petal. Again, we've slip stitched, chain 3, 3 doubles into the chain space, chain 3, and slip stitch in to there. I moved the kitty's bed into your room, my room recently, and she's sleeping with me every night. Aww. That's cute. Well, if you have pictures, if you want to post them in the Discord, you can if you want to. So I've slip stitched into the space, and again, we're going to chain 3. I'm just repeating what we're doing. Chain 3, 3 doubles. I don't know if you had mentioned, does the cat have a name? Did our 3 doubles, did chain 3, and now we're going to slip stitch in there. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got 3 more to do. Slip stitch, chain 3, 3 doubles, chain 3, and then slip stitch. Pretty basic. It's just trying to get everything in the right configuration for this. It's nothing too difficult as long as you know where to put the stitches. Let me do that last stitch a little bit better. Our last one, we're going to do our last little petal. Slip stitch it there. You should have 8 outer petals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to cut my yarn, and I'm going to finish it off. And I'm going to get my needle, and I'm going to weave in my end. That is it for the flower part. Then we're going to attach the background, what's in blue. Going to weave this in a few more stitches. Put that in there. And cut that off. So we've got our little flower. Real simple. If anybody is really liking these 3-dimensional granny flowers, I'm considering doing probably a series of not watch parties, but a series of voice chat parties, I guess we're going to call them, in Discord for the Secret Yarnery on YouTube. Right now, I think she's starting to finish up. I think she's got 1 or 2 more months. She's got a year-long series of 3-dimensional flower granny squares that are similar to this, where it's in the center and then the rest of the square are identical for each square. So they all would coordinate. It's just the flowers are different. I was going to do some of them here for Granny Month this month, but I like pretty much all of them, and there's like 12 of them, and I just didn't want to just redo all of hers all at once. But I'm considering doing them on Discord if you want to watch me do them there. So it's actually a cow that she's doing, a CAL, a crochet along. And basically it's 1 square per month. But you could check her out, or I'm considering doing that on Discord sometime. So let me get my second color. And I'm going to make one identical to my sample. Yes, we do need to do more Discord stuff, Seagam. I totally agree. You're right, Grammy. This one does look delicate and lacy. A lot of it has to do with it being simple. And then this, I really like this row here. It's just V-stitches. It makes this lattice, like a garden lattice type pattern. Before I do the next color in the next rounds, we're going to have an ad break here coming up. So I don't want to get started and then go right to ad. So we're going to do the next one, and it's pretty simple here. It's pretty much a, what do they call it? I did it months ago. It's a granny square with no, well, where you go into each stitch. I forgot the name of it. I think I would remember. So that's what we're going to do when we come back from the ad. And I will be right back. And welcome back. Thank you for sitting through the ad break. All right, so I've got my flower upside down. So we're going to work on the back side. And we're going to start with a standing single crochet. So I've already put my slip knot on my hook. And we're going to find one of the stitches between the petals. So remember we had 8 petals, so we're going to have 8 stitches here where they all join. So these petals here. So it doesn't matter which one. You're going to do a standing or however else you want to join. We're going to do a stitch around that petal there. However you can get it. Actually, let me get it the right way. The way that works for me. Okay. We do a single crochet to join. We're going to chain 4. 3, 4. We're going to skip the next stitch between the petals because we got a petal here and a petal here. So where those two meet, we're skipping that, and we're going to do a single crochet into the next. Oh, excuse me. We'll do a single crochet into the very next one. So you're going to go. We've attached here on the one, chain 4, skip 1, and in the next one do a single. And you're going around that stitch, just like so. And then chain 1, and now, well, not chain 1, single crochet, and now chain 4. Skip this one, and then around the next one, that's the tricky part, is trying to go around there. Do a single crochet, chain 4, skip the next one, and around the next one, the following one, do a single, and then chain 4. You're going to skip 1, and you'll be back to where you started. And you're just going to slip stitch into your first single crochet on your very first one. And if it doesn't matter exactly how you get it, it's going to be in the back. No one's going to see it. It's going to be underneath these petals too. So we're going to slip stitch. And that is round number 5. Looks real simple because it pretty is simple. So our tail, I'm just going to leave my tail in the center. We're not going to worry about that. So round 6 is where we're going to make it into a square. So we already have our 4 chain spaces that we can start squaring it up. So in our next chain space, right here, this chain space of 4 that we made, we're going to slip stitch into it. And then we're going to chain up 3. And then put 5 double crochets in this chain space. So that chain 3 counts as 1. So you're going to actually put 6. So that's 1. And then we're going to put 5 actual doubles. Five. So we've got our 5 doubles plus our chain. That counts as a stitch. So that's one side. I lost my. Okay. Now we're going to chain 3. That's going to be a corner. And in our next chain 4 space from the previous row, put in 6 doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Another side, we're going to chain 3, which that's going to be a corner. In the next chain 4 space from the previous, it's 6 doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there's another side, it's our third side. Chain 3, and then the last chain 4 space in the previous row, put in 6 more doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Chain 3. And now we're going to slip stitch to our very first chain we made of that row in the top. So it's the third one, so the top of that chain. Slip stitch to join like you normally would. And that is the end of round 6. So if I flip it upside down, ignore the tail, you could see a square starting. The next 2 rounds are pretty easy. So now we're going to chain up 3. And in the very next 5 stitches, because this chain up 3 is considered a double crochet, so you're going to skip that stitch. And in the next 5, they're each going to get a double. Two, 3, 4, get some slack off of the yarn, and 5. So technically you have 6 doubles there. In our corner, we're going to put 2 doubles, and then chain 3, and then 2 doubles in our corner. So this is like a basic square where you just do 2 doubles, 3 chains, 2 doubles in the corner, and then each side, each stitch gets a double crochet. We're going to do that for this row, which is row 7, and we'll do the same thing for row 8, but each time you do it, you're going to be putting more stitches in. So again, each stitch from the previous row, which there are 6 there, they'll each get a double. That's a weird way that stitch was formed from the last row. 3, okay, we're good. 5 and 6. Now the corner gets 2 doubles, chain 3, and 2 doubles. I can make the last double in that corner. I'm going to pull out a whole bunch more yarn. And again, you repeat it all the way around. Each stitch gets 1 double crochet. The corners is where it's different. Corner gets 2, then chain 3, and then it gets 2 more. And all this is just simple double crochet. Six. Now we've got our last corner, because when we started, we didn't start in the corner, we started on the row. So in our last corner, you put 2 doubles, chain 3, and then 2 doubles. So the previous row, each side had 6. This row here, each will have 10, because you've got your original 6, and then you got 2 on each side that were in the corner, so you're going to have 10 in each. So now we're going to slip stitch to the top of our first chain, to join. Now for this row, and this would be row 8, you're going to chain up 3, but you're going to start here. So you're going to, when we get to the very end, and we'll go through it, after you do our corner, we're going to add 2 extra stitches because there's 2 here from the side, because we're starting in the middle of a side. It'll make sense when we get there. So we chain up 3, and then each of them get a double. And we're just growing the square. And you can make this as big as you want. I wouldn't make it too big because the flower is somewhat small. And again, the corners are the same. 2 doubles, chain 3, 2 doubles. All that yarn I pulled out, I need to pull out more. There's the 2 doubles, chain 3, and do our 2. Yeah, these rows don't really need much instruction. Coming up to my last row, my last side, I should say, not last row. Because after this, we've got 2 more rows. Okay, we've come to our last corner. We're going to put our 2 doubles, our 3 chains, and our 2 doubles. But we have 2 stitches here from the first side that aren't finished, because when we joined here and chained up. So now each of those 2 stitches need to get a double each. Oh, and there's a knot right there. Of course there is. Couldn't have waited. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I thought it was like a knot where I joined yarn, but let me pick this out. This looks like it's a loop knot. Oh yeah, it's a loop knot, so I can pull that out. Okay, we're good. Where it kind of backtracks on itself. So now we're here, and now we can slip stitch to join. That's it for this color. We're going to chain 1. I'm going to cut, pull through, and tighten up. So that was row, the blue was rows. Well, we started with our foundation there, so it was technically 5, 6, 7, and 8. And while we're here, I'm going to weave in just this end. I'm not worried about my starting tail, but I want to get this out of the way so it's not going to bother me. my needle back. And this music is really annoying me, so I need to change. There. All right, so now we're ready for our last color and our last 2 rounds. Hopefully I have enough of this cream color or this off-white color. If not, then you're going to see some frogging, but we haven't got there yet. So we're going to join in a corner, and we're going to join we're going to join with a standing triple crochet. The instructions say chain 4, join and chain 4, but I'm going to do a standing triple. And I'm going to start in the corner. Hopefully this will work. If it doesn't, then I will rip it out. You know what? We are going to rip it out. I'm going to join the old-fashioned way. So I'm going to put my hook in the corner, bring up the loop, and around both the working yarn and the tail, I'm just going to chain 1. That's going to kind of lock it in a bit, and then drop the tail. And now I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And in that same corner, I'm going to do a double crochet. That chain 4 counts as a double crochet plus 1 chain. So essentially that's a V-stitch. So that's in the corner. We're going to skip 2 stitches, and in the very next stitch, we're going to do a double crochet, chain 1, and in that same stitch, do a double crochet. So we're doing a V-stitch. Skip 2 stitches, in the third, do a double, chain 1, and in that same space, do another double. This is what's going to give that lattice effect to it. Skip 2 stitches, in the next one, do a double, chain 1, and in that same stitch, do a double. And I'll repeat that till we get to the corner. Skip 2, put a double, chain 1, and a double in that same stitch. We get here, we're going to skip 2, and we're in the corner. So in the corner, we're going to do a double, chain 1, and a double. That's how we're going to do our sides. Our corner, we're going to chain 3. And in that same corner space, do the double, chain 1, and double. I'm going to refer to the double, the chain 1 and the double as a V-stitch. That's commonly known as a V-stitch. So we're going to skip 2 stitches, and in the next stitch, do a V-stitch. Then skip 2 and do a V-stitch. And that's all that this row is. It's pretty simple, but it looks really nice. Get to the corner, and we've made our V-stitch in the corner. We're going to chain 3, because that's what we've been doing the whole time for our corners, chain 3. And then put our V-stitch in the corner. Alrighty then. Thank you for that. Skip 2, and then next to a V-stitch. No, that's not your new intro. Your new intro is the dun dun dun. And that's how we're going to do round 9. Skip to, hold up, I think I counted wrong. Your new intro is that because everybody is so happy to see me. I don't know about that. Okay, let's double check, make certain we counted right. Skip 2, do 1, skip. Oh, I think I didn't skip 2 back here. I didn't. That's why the count came off. It was off. So I did a little bit of frog. If you want to do the frog, the ribbit, you could do the ribbit. It's fine. Skip 2. There we go. There, the count came out right. That's that time. Last corner. Well, no, we still have to finish the other corner when we get there. Chain, well, yeah, I got to chain 1. Sometimes I forget that I'm doing the V-stitch, and I just want to do doubles, because that's pretty much, you do a lot of that in granny squares, double into the corners. But I caught myself. And there's no chains in between the V-stitch. The only chain is to form the V-stitch, the double, the chain, and then the double. To go to the next V-stitch, you're just going to go right into it. Okay. We're going to be at the corner here, do our last V-stitch. We already have we started with a V-stitch. And now we're going to chain 3, slip stitch into the third chain, because when we started we chained 4. We don't want to slip stitch in the 4th, we want to slip stitch into the 3rd, because that is technically the top of that quote-unquote double. It's a false double, but it works as a double. So that is row 9. All right, now to do row 10, we're going to chain up 3. Hey there, Asking Flora, how are you? So we chained up 3, and into that very into the same space, and we're counting the corner space. We're going to do 2 more doubles. So we've got basically 3 doubles there. And in the chain spaces, so in the V stitches, the chain spaces are the V. In each of those, we're going to do 3 doubles. And the 3 doubles is considered the granny stitch, or the granny stitch grouping. There's no chains in between any of these. So this row works up pretty quick. You're just going into the space. You're not going into the actual stitch. It's in the V stitches, not in between the V stitches, but it's that chain 1 that form the V. You're going to do your 3 doubles. So essentially this square is pretty basic and easy to do, apart from the flower, and even the flower is not that difficult. And we're getting ready to have another ad, believe it or not. And while we're at ad break, I'll continue around on this round since it's not anything detailed. I will show you how to do the corners real quick before we go. You're going to put 3 doubles. 1, 2, 3. Chain 3. And then the same corner, do 3 doubles. Just like a regular basic beginner level granny square. 3 doubles, chain 3, 3 doubles. And I will continue this all the way around, and I will meet you back after these messages. And welcome back. Again, thank you for sitting through that ad. Let me zoom out a little bit. While we were at ad, I continued all the way around, finished this round, and I'm at the very end, at the corner. I've done my last 3 double crochets, chain 3, and now it's real simple. We're going to slip stitch to our first chain from our first, when we first started this round. Slip stitch into the top of that chain, the third chain, and then we're going to chain 1. I'm going to cut, pull through, cinch up. I'm going to put my needle on. I'm not going to worry about weaving in my other ends right now. I'm just going to weave this one because it's on the edge and you'll be able to see it. I will weave in the other 2 later. Yep, we are granny squaring, lady. How are you? And that is what I am calling the small flower granny. It is, I don't know what they are calling it on, let me pull up the, give me 1 second. Let me open this up and see what they're calling it. I'm going to mute it. Whoops. Struggling to find inspiration to keep working. Oh, I'm sorry. The YouTube channel that I got it from is a YouTube channel called Crochet Mili, M-I-L-I. They're just calling it Crochet Flower Granny Square Tutorial number 75. I'm like, I don't like that name, so it's kind of small. I call it the small flower. So, real simple apart from the flower part, and even that's not too difficult. The rest of it, again, is the, and I forgot the name of it. It's a real simple granny. We did it back in April. Let me go back. No, we didn't do it in April. We did it in, yeah, we did do it in April. It's called the blue part here is the seamless solid granny. Or it's a solid, yeah, or a solid granny. There is another one where there's no gaps, in the corners, but this is just the regular solid granny where you stitch into each. And then like this row here, the first row of white was all V stitches, and then the outer row is regular granny where you do your 3 doubles into your V stitches. So that is our small flower granny. It would look really, really cute as a blanket, and maybe join it with one of these colors, maybe with a pink or another color or whatever. And again, you can pick your colors whatever you want. I just chose this because it shows up on camera and I have a lot of this blue. I think the video, instead of blue, I don't even know what color they were making their flower. Their flower's hot pink. And instead of blue, they did green, which, again, you can change it up however you want. But that is the small flower granny. Again, sneak peek for the pink and blues come out really good. Exactly. I mean, they're baby colors. They're kind of in the pastel. And the lighter colors show up on camera really well. So that's why I've chose that, and I got some more of it, but I've definitely got plenty of the baby blue. I'm running low. Well, actually, I have some pink, but I'm running low a little on the pink side. Pink, but that's all right. Sneak peek for Saturdays. I showed this the other day. This is the. Let me pull up my calendar to see if I'm doing. This is the popcorn flower granny from Hooked by Robin on YouTube. Yes, I love this wine purple color. I really like that. This is all cotton. Normally, I try to work in cotton because the stitch definition shows up on camera really good, but I didn't have any cotton in enough of light colors for this, but I had enough in this. This is a variegated Yeah, burgundy wine, purple. Yeah, I like it a lot. This is a variegated cotton yarn. It's got like oranges and greens, and I wanted something to contrast. And so, like I said, this is the popcorn flower granny by Hook by Robin. If you want some really good crocheted stitches and patterns and projects, not just squares, in clear instructions. I mean, I try to make it clear as possible as I can, but definitely check out Hook by Robin's channel. She's got a lot of videos on there, and she walks you through and makes it real easy. Hey there, Anna. How are you? Um, you had already missed. Sorry, but you missed the small flower granny. That's what I did tonight on stream, and I'm just showing off Saturdays. So this is real simple. When we do it, it's basically 2 rounds of popcorn, and then we go into the border, and the border is real simple. But sometimes simple is really good. That's all we need. We don't really need anything too complex. Like last Saturday with the cherry blossom, that one took patience. So decided we needed a break with some more simple type squares. I've got about an hour or more because I'm not stopping the stream. Oh, another sneak peek. I'm doing good. How are you, Anna? Okay. So I'm going to do another sneak peek for not Monday, Tuesday. I'm trying to find colors to use on it and using up my little scraps. I'm not a big fan of the color choices I did on my sample, but it will show up. Temperature blanket. I didn't stream this past Saturday. I was wiped out and exhausted, so I have not worked on it since the Sunday before. So this coming Sunday we will have 2 weeks worth to catch up on. So that might be a little bit of a longer stream on Sunday. So it's still there. It's sitting over to my left where it lives. It has a permanent home until it's finished, because I don't want to be lugging it all over the place. So, like I had said the other day, this is the last week of floral grannies. We're still doing Granny Month all through June, but this is, remember, our theme of the month is garden. So the first half we did flowers. The second half, well, we did flora. In the second half, we're doing fauna. So we're going to do in the animal kingdom. And then for Tuesday's stream, we're doing this butterfly. I'm not a big fan of the color combination. I really don't like this hot pink, but I need something to contrast. And I didn't want to do black because you wouldn't see it. But this looks more difficult than it is. Yes, the wings are 3-dimensional. So I will show how to do this. That is from, who did the butterfly? I want to credit them. I will credit them when I do it on stream. Let me see here. Oh, the same channel that I got tonight's square from, this flower, is the same channel that the butterfly is on. It's Crochet Mili. Mili, I guess, yeah. Fair. I'm working on the headband that Klimiko shared. I want to finish it, but I lost motivation very quickly because your mom is well, or she isn't well. I hope she's okay. Oh, I want to check this real quick. I'm going to give a measurement on tonight's. Oh, your mom is your mom. Oh, okay. I understand. Gotcha. I thought you meant you were mentioning that she wasn't well. All right. So tonight's square is about 7 inches square. You can always alter it. You can make it a little bit smaller, a little bit bigger. I wouldn't go too big, but I think she doesn't think before she talks, and she thinks it's bad, even though it's absolutely not. It's hard to keep working on something after that. Oh, I'm sorry. So like I said, we've got 7 inches square. That's a decent size square. And then let's see what the butterfly one is. The butterfly is about 7 3/4. You could possibly make it a little smaller, and it could match, and you could do these together, and obviously color coordinate them so you can have flowers on butterfly because they're similar size. But that is little wiggle room, the butterfly. You could do the butterfly in the center of a large blanket. Exactly. So that is Tuesdays. I'm working currently on my sample for next Thursdays. Next Thursdays is a different butterfly. It's a larger butterfly, and it's at an angle, so it's not straight on with the square. It's tilted. So there will be another butterfly. We've got a dragonfly coming up. We've got a ladybug. We've got a snail. And I'm not going to give it away, but July 1st, we have a bonus garden. I'm going to call it a stitch. It's not a square, but it fits in the garden. So we've got a little bonus one, even though July 1st is not technically in June, but it's on a Saturday. I didn't want to start a full week. I didn't want to start something on that Saturday and then go to temperature blanket and then go into something else. So I wanted to keep it all in our garden theme that we have going on. So that is what is coming up next week. Well, the rest of this week and next week. We're going to put those away. And I don't really have anything else planned for the rest of the stream. So what I'm going to end up doing, and if you just want to sit and chit chat, if you have any questions. Oh, I had mentioned this earlier. And if anybody wasn't around, if anyone is interested in on Discord having not a watch party. We could watch it and then I could do it on not stream, but in the video chat, voice chat channel on YouTube, The Secret Yarnery. She's got a cow that she's going on that's going on all this year. She's got, I think, 2 more months to do. It is a flower cow, and it's squares. Each square is going to be the same size, and it's meant when you're done the cow to take your 12 squares that you make and join them together. So the background of the square are all the same. Each flower in the center is different, and they're 3-dimensional flowers, kind of like what we've been doing. I didn't want to do all of hers this month because I'd just be copying her. But if I do it in Discord, maybe I can do it however often. I'll figure that out. I might put a poll in the Discord if anybody's interested in tuning into that. Again, you don't have to be on camera. If you just want to sit and watch and interact, that's something I'm considering. Let me see something real quick. Took me too long to realize you said cow. And actually, I said cow, C-A-L, crochet along. So not a cow, like a cow neck, and not a cow as in a moo. A crochet along. Let me see if I can find. I don't want to play any of her. Whoops! No! Nope, you're fine. You're fine. I'm just gonna pull up one of her videos. I'm just gonna show the image real quick. One of the ones that I thought was cool looking. And let's bring it on screen. That is one of hers. She did a pansy flower. And each one are different. But the background, wait, that's not it. No, that's not it. Or is it? Anyway, again, these are not mine. Okay, there we go. You can kind of see, yes, that was it. You could kind of see each square looks the same, except the flowers are different. You got like a sunflower, and one of these is a zinnia. Some of these have names, some don't. But she's in the middle of it. I think she's got 2 more squares to do. Total of 12. That is something that I really like because they're really nice and colorful, and they all kind of coordinate. So, trying to figure out how you make a cow from 12 squares. Cal, C-A-L, crochet along. Yeah, she's got one. It's called she calls it the Bloomscape. Amigurumi, I'm not one for amigurumi. I don't. That's not something really interests me. I can appreciate people doing amigurumi, but I don't think that's something that I would really enjoy. To each their own. So yeah, I would like to do some of Krista's. Her name is Krista from the Secret Yarnery. Her Bloomscape Cal, C-A-L. That's half the reason I was confused. That's fine. It's all right. So, if anybody's interested in that, we can do that on Discord sometime. Obviously, over a couple different days. I'm not going to be able to do all 12 in one day. So, for the rest of our stream, we are going to play with the cards. My quote-unquote cards. And we are going to make some fluff. I don't know if anybody was here the other day when I showed these. My recent toy. And what I'm doing is trying to get the feel of carding. I don't have any wool or alpaca or sheep's wool or any of that. I'm using scraps from all of my squares that I've done on stream. So anytime you might recognize some of these colors from previous streams, and that they're all acrylic, and I'm going to open up the fibers. So basically untwist it and make my own fluff, and then I'm going to take that and spin it. Where'd you get I got these on Amazon. Technically, I don't know if you can read it. It says House of Paws. They're technically pet brushes. They're smaller, so they're only about 4 3/4 inches by not quite 2.5. And again, I didn't want to go and get actual hand cards because they could be expensive. They're essentially the same thing. They were sold as wool cards. It's essentially the same. They've got, and they're all metal, so there's no little plastic things that are going to come off. They are curved bristles. What did Granny say? That's what happens when I listen to the stream while trying to remember how the heck to remember how to finish a project I put aside for 2 weeks. Okay, so they're pet brushes. I've got one for my pets, so to make sure your fluffers have their brush. Yeah. Again, I got these on Amazon. I'm not sponsored. I think they were like 12, 13 bucks. And they came as a set of two. They were marketing them as cards. You can take an actual hairbrush that doesn't have, that's all metal bristles, not the ones with the little plastic little beads on the end. If you want to get ones that are all metal, because those beads come off even if you use them as a hairbrush. Not that I know, because don't have the use for one. But you don't want all that, because that stuff would end up coming off and get into your fluff, and then if you spin with it, you're gonna have it's gonna be a pain. So, and this is just a technique that I saw on YouTube, and it actually works. And if you're on a budget and you don't want to go and spend the money on actual proper cards and fleece and whatever, you just want to practice. Take your little scraps. You want things, your scraps, to be roughly about that size. You don't want anything longer. Sometimes if they're too short, they might not work. But what you want to do is get a little bunch, and they don't have to be the same length. You're going to hold on to it really tight and drag it across, and just after a couple passes, it's starting to fluff up. You want to get it to the point where it's completely untwisted. Oh, that strand is too long. We'll come back to that one then. You don't want them doubled over, because you want to actually open up the fibers. I'm by no means any expert on this. This is just trial and error that I've practiced. And you want to open up, you want to flip it back and forth so you're getting both sides of it, and move it all around. And that's opened up pretty good. And then you want to flip over and hold the side that you've somewhat processed, and do the other side. Careful, these tines are sharp. Just doing this has roughed up my thumb. And then the other night I was doing it and I pressed a little too hard, and it hurt. Didn't draw blood, but it was a little painful. And you can even lay it just like that. That pink one isn't opening up as much, so I want to pay more attention to the pink one. Oh, that's starting to open. And yeah, you're going to get strands and fluff in there. It's kind of the point. And you want to keep doing this. And once you've got it open, when you pull it through, don't hold it as tight. And that will let some of those strands get onto the card. And see how wispy. And just in that short amount of time, I've opened it up. And that pink did not open all the way. So I'm just going to have to focus more on that. And then just from experience, and also from what I've learned by online, even if you have real cards, wool cards, you don't want to pack it too full, because it's not going to do any good for anything on the bottom. And with doing this, you can choose what colors you want to put into your fluff to spin new yarn, so you can kind of customize it. And I showed this on stream the other night briefly, you're not going to smash it down into it. With your other one, you're going to basically graze the tops of it. And carding, you're not lining up the fibers, you're opening them up. And you keep doing this. And a lot of it has already opened up. But you do this as many times as you want, until it gets to be pretty open. You're going to get more. The idea is to keep more on your first card and less on here. I probably end up getting too much on my card that's moving. And then We're going to go to add. As soon as the add is over, I will continue. I will be back. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for watching those ads. While we were on ad break, I was carding a little more, and I cleaned out my brush that I was actually moving, because you keep one stationary and you move the other one. So that was the fluff that came out. So I'm going to keep that fluff. And I'm going to see if I can reuse it. So I'm going to take the fluff, it's already been opened, and I'm going to drag it through and put it back into the card with everything else that's in it. And then keep carding and open it up more. Yes, I'm going to get some onto the brush or the card. They make, and I mentioned this the other night when I was showing these, they make, well, you can make them yourself, but they also make something called a blending board. And you can get carding cloth, which is basically a heavy material, traditionally leather. It's probably like a rubber or plastic or something that has all the teeth on it. And it's in however many, I don't know what size, however many inches wide or whatever. And you could attach it to like a wooden cutting board. Yep, you need a rocket. Yeah. Thank you, Citric, for blue. She knows more about it than I do. But with a blending board, it's usually wider and bigger, and you can put your color wherever you want it, and you can kind of make your own color combinations. And again, I am no expert in this at all. I'm just practicing, getting the feel for it. And then once you get it opened up, then you can take it and take the card here and put it at like this angle here and flick it off. And I didn't do it that well, but most of it will come off. And then you can carefully take it off your card. And again, I'm not good at this. And this is also a lot smaller. If you had proper cards, you'd have more space, and then you can roll it up and form a roll lag, and then you can spin right from that. You start with a lot of colorful bits of yarn. There's almost none of it now. Well, it was only a handful, roughly. Oh, these are longer. Yeah, it was roughly about that much. Roughly, they were much shorter pieces, and all I've done was I've taken the twist out of it, open up the fibers, and there's a lot of air in this. This is very light and fluffy. Again, it's practice. It's using scraps. It's not the real way to do it, but use what you got. That's how our ancestors would do it. Would not necessarily do this, but with other things, they didn't have a local craft store or Amazon to go and purchase something brand new. Especially like quilting, for instance, you use what fabric you had on hand and you made do. So it's kind of along those same lines, and it's a learning experience. Again, this is acrylic. It's not the real, it's not wool or alpaca or a natural fiber, which again, you can spin synthetic, obviously, but just something I'm playing around with. And again, these aren't real cards. They're, like I said, pet brushes. I just want to make it clear, I am no expert in this. But and at least with this, you can choose your colors. I mean, you can choose your colors too with proper fiber. So, how are you, Citric? You unplug the yarn first. It's separate. Yeah. That's kind of what I'm doing here is I'm using the quote-unquote cards to kind of open up the the plies and the twist. Some of them open up easier than others, again, depending on how tightly twisted they are and where they are in my little bundle. And I am making a point to keep all of my scraps. These are all acrylic, just for my purposes. I don't want to end up mixing different types of fibers and then go to spin with it and then have an issue. Because I've spun with acrylic before. That's all I've really spun with. Last year I went to the craft store and they had jumbo roving yarn. Like, the strand was that big around, but it was actually two strands that were lightly twisted together, barely twisted. So I carefully untwisted it. It came apart real easy. And then it was just roving, so it was all fluff. And I pulled it apart and spun with that. Because again, it was economical at the time. And actually, I have, let me show you what I have. This I did on my electric eel spinning wheel. I made one whole bobbin. The colors from that yarn was grays and blacks. And it's pretty thin. Got some thin areas and some thick areas, but it got real thin. And that was basically my first bobbin. I haven't used the wheel in a while. I need to get back at it. And then I make another one and then try plying them. But just trying to get the feel of the process of all of this. Oh, I'm using, let me get one of my wheels. I've got two small wheels. I've got something on the wheel, which I need to get back to. These I got secondhand, and I think they are the Electric Eel Nano 1, maybe? So this is my electric spinning wheel. I have two identical ones. And it's electric, so I don't have to worry about treadling on this. The only thing I got to worry about is the spin and the uptake. So there's a learning curve. There's a big learning curve on this. So I got two. And I figured it was a really good deal for both of them. Got them off of a Facebook group. Somebody was selling them. And they also threw in a Lazy Kate for plying. They threw in a 3D printed Yarn Swift. They threw in a little bit of sheep's wool. There was something else they put in also, but I can't remember what it was. And a whole bunch of bobbins. But oh, that's a little dusty. I think what I'm going to end up doing is keeping one machine on Z-twist and the other one on S-twist, so I can do my singles on one and then use the other one to ply, possibly. And that the Z-twist and S-twist is what direction the wheel spins in and the direction that the twist goes in. One will go one way, one will go the other. And the theory is you do your singles, which is a single in one direction, and then you've got multiple of them. When you ply, you do them the other way, so they keep the twist. Because if you do your singles and your ply the same way, your whole yarn can come untwisted. Again, I'm no expert. Citric would know more about it than I would, because I've seen her spin on a more of a traditional spinning wheel. I don't have the money or the room for a treadle spinning wheel. So that's why I went with the electric. And that way I don't have to worry about being coordinated and treadling with my foot and drafting and spinning with my hands, and it's like so many, so I can focus on one thing at a time. Maybe in the future I might graduate to a treadle spinning wheel when I get a little better. Yeah, you definitely have to fly in opposite directions, because if not, you're going to have a mess. You will have not just like yarn barf mess, you're going to have bad times. I've seen pictures of it. If remembering right, crochet is best spun Z plied. Yeah. And what that means is, it's hard to show you here on this here. Z, the letter Z, the way I've seen it on videos explained, Jillian Eve on YouTube is a great resource for anything spinning. She's listed in the Discord in my YouTuber section to watch. And the letter Z, if you imagine the letter Z, well, the first part of the Z, the top part of the Z, it's going clockwise. So it's going to be twisted in a clockwise manner. S twist, if you imagine the letter S, the top part of it, you're going counterclockwise. So for some reason, and I don't know why, yarns tend to work better if you're going to crochet them if you spin them in a Z and then ply them the other way, as opposed to spinning your individual strands in an S and plying them in a Z. I'm not certain why it's better, the structure or whatever. Let me look. Also, if you look at, and that's not really a good example. Let me see if there's blue. The camera's not zooming in well enough. If you look at a piece of yarn, you can see the twist and the exactly what Citric says. If you look at the center of the letter, like the Z, that will be the angle of your twist. If you look at your twist, you see it's twisted. You can see the strands going at a certain angle. That's how you know how it's been plied. Like this one here, it's going this way. So that's an S twist ply. It's probably a lot of information for people who are not spinners. And again, I would not consider myself a spinner. I'm very, very much a novice. But yeah, they say that one way plied is better for crochet and the other one's better for knitting. And I'm not certain what they say for weaving. So it's just not all crochet hooks and skeins of yarn. Not involved. Alrighty, so I'm just going to practice carding. I know historically, if you have real cards, and real cards usually are much wider, much bigger. I know historically, let's say like colonial era US, that the carding process was usually given to children because it's one of the easiest things to do, and it's like repetition. It's not as tedious as spinning. There, I can't really rock it too much because this, and again, they're not real cards. They're kind of domed. It's not flat. Drum quarters are upward of 400 to 500, and we know they're given. And oh yeah, those weren't given to kids. And drum quarters are more of a 20th century type invention to process more fiber quicker. Yeah, you're not going to give a drum quarter to a child because the moving parts and the wheels and no. So you can see there's a whole lot less on that than there is on here. Again, something just learning and using resources that I have. Well, someone surely was giving to those kids, but I digress. I'm using what I have on hand. And these are little scraps that after I weaved in my ends, I clipped. So I'm not wasting anything. So, yes, it's a little bit of yarn, but this is acrylic, and that's going to take a long time to break down. So, to keep this out of the landfill, yeah, it's a tiny bit, but every little bit would help. So, what else? Well, I got most of it off that time, and again, these aren't the best cards, and it kind of didn't roll up the way. And again, they're really narrow, so I'm not going to be able to do a proper roll lag off of this. But I'll make it work. I'm trying to match up lengths of yarn in similar lengths, so when I go to open these, I wouldn't use a piece this long. Yeah, grab two pencils. Yeah, I've seen that where you've got your fluff there and you put one pencil here and the other there and you roll them against. Yeah. But I wouldn't use anything this long because for these cards, because it's also your fiber length, your staple length is going to be way too long. Again, don't take my word as gospel. Yeah, I'll just end up cutting that white one down and this blue one multiple times into smaller pieces. And I like it that I can choose whatever colors I want. The last one I did had some yellows and greens in it. This one's got some whites and some pinks, and then there's some yellow and green. Try not to put anything shorter than 2 inches on a card. Yep. Because if it's too short, yeah, it'll make naps, little bunched up little pieces that you're not going to be able to do anything with. And if it happens to get in there, it's gonna be a little thick area in your yarn and not gonna be as desirable unless you're looking for something that's got a lot of texture. Well, if you have those become drier balls. But if you want to be that person and not waste them, yeah. Definitely. So that's definitely opened up there. And those colors are really pretty, how they've, when they open up, the fibers look really, really cool. Obviously, if you're using wool or natural fiber or any fiber that hasn't been spun into yarn yet, you're not going to have to open up your fibers here. You would still take your fiber and put it on here. You wouldn't have to worry about unplying the yarn. And I'm flipping it back and forth to get some of the color from one side on both sides. Forcing myself to finish the length of this headband. You could do the sewing tomorrow. Yeah, that headband that Clean Miko posted in the Discord was pretty cool looking. And again, if anybody, I don't know if anybody had seen the message I posted in the Discord, if anybody has a free pattern that they want to share, I mean, you could share a paid pattern, but just the link to it. Don't share the actual pattern. If you want to share the link to it and somebody can purchase it, that's fine. But if you're sharing the actual pattern, it has to be free. Feel free to do that. Or if anybody has a pattern that they have designed themselves and they want to give away for free, I'm not saying you have to. If there's any people that design anything, I'm okay with that too. Or if you design something and you want to charge for it and you've got a website, put the link in there. So cute. It's a style that has a lot of women in my community wear with their lace wigs. So I'm making this one for my friend because she struggles to find ones that will keep her warm in the winter. That's great. I didn't really look at the pattern, but I looked at her finished one that she did, and it looks somewhat simple. I was digging a little too deep there and didn't want all the fiber to come off all at once. Need something to drink. That's hard work. Yeah, I've got a basket full of, this is all stuff that I've carded. It's all acrylic that I've opened up, all different colors. And then what I could do is, if I wanted to get really creative, I could pull pick different colors and recard it together to make an individual color combination and spin from there. It's very simple, literally single crochet at the back, stitch, and stitching at the end of the link to hold the edges together in a pattern to create texture. Oh, cool. So there is. I've been busy carding. Yeah, yeah, this pile of fluff, and it was from this bag, and this bag was not about 3/4 of the way full. So I still got a whole lot more, and that's gonna make a lot of fluff. Now that crocheted headband, I might make a bunch, not for me, but just to practice the pattern. Or make one, and then if I like it, make a whole bunch more. Because they seem like they would work up somewhat quick. And in a few seconds, we're going to have another ad break. It's like these ad breaks just never stop. I'm okay with the ad breaks. I know it might be a little bit of an inconvenience having to sit through an ad, but it helps my channel so much. So I appreciate anybody who is sitting through those ads. And I will be right back after the ad. Alrighty. Thank you everybody for sitting through that ad. That ad, can't even speak. Um everybody tune in on Thursdays starting in July. We're doing Throwback Thursdays. I am going to be doing vintage patterns. I've got a bunch of different pattern books from the 40s and the 50s. And then also a website called Free Vintage Crochet. I've got a few things picked up from the free website. And I'm going to show you what we're going to be doing on the other Thursdays if I'm not going to be doing anything from that website. I've got these edging books, edgings for handkerchiefs or tablecloths or whatever. I've got a fourth one that Grammy has, and I've mentioned this before. It's got 100 different patterns in it. I have not looked at it. I gave it to her, and I told her to go through and pick out ones that she likes. And then on those days that we do a vintage edging, I will get the book. Right before we stream, she's going to tell me which one that we're going to do. And when I open it up to that page, when you find out is when I find out, and we will work through the pattern together. And if there's difficulties, we'll work on it together. So that is what's going to be going on starting in July on Thursdays. The rest of July, and I've mentioned this before, let me pull up my calendar. We're going to do some other fun crochet projects apart from individual stitches or squares. We're going to do some things like filet crochet. We're going to do some t-shirt yarn, how to make t-shirt yarn. And to work with t-shirt yarn, you're going to need a bigger hook. So if anybody has old t-shirts that they don't want anymore, that have seen better days, hold on to them, and we will reuse that. I'm going to touch some more on some mosaic crochet, and we will do some beaded crochet, where we incorporate beads into it, not only flat panel pieces, but also beaded jewelry. So that's what's coming up in July. And I'm thinking ahead of time, sometime in the fall, we're probably going to do another granny event. I don't know if it's going to be a month or a week. Haven't figured that out yet. But something a little more fall themed. So I'm still in the planning phase of that. So lots of cool things coming to the stream in the next few months. Getting ready to end. To recap, or not recap, I'm going to show again, this is what is going to be done on Saturday. We're doing the popcorn flower by Hook by Robin on YouTube. Real simple, real easy, nice texture, really nice texture. So that will be on Saturday. So with that being said, everybody check out the Discord, check out the YouTube channel. I think there was something else I was going to say, but I forgot. We are going to go and raid somebody. We're going to go raid Miss Kim. Kim for the day. If you don't know her, definitely check her out. She's pretty cool. She was working on some a crocheted item. I'm not exactly certain what it is, but we're going to go and raid her. So everybody, stick around for the raid, and I will see you all Saturday. Happy crafting!